Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Fumi Beatrice, and in today's video I'm just going to be talking about the things I've had to learn or the shocks I've experienced, coming into the UK, and probably the things that you would have to learn also, and you might also experience if you are coming into the UK or if you are moving into a new country in general. So when it comes to shocks, the first thing that shocked me the most was the cold. I just want to, reinforce this, that no matter how cold you think it is colder than your expectations. So I've never actually come to the UK before. I've never experienced anything like winter or spring or autumn. And I come from Nigeria, which is basically like, a very hot country. Though we have rainy season and, dry season, but I've never really experienced what it is to be like very cold. So when I was coming over, my dad said I should go get, I should not really spend so much money on a winter jacket because I would never actually get like an original winter jacket back in my home country. So he was like, why don't I just go to the what we call thrift shops here? Why don't I just go to like a second-hand market, get like a fairly used jacket? That way, whenever I come here, within my first few days, I'll be able to buy like an original winter jacket. So I was like, okay, that's reasonable. So I just went to the market and I just bought any jacket I found. I just told the guy, like I went to the market and the guy stopped me. I was like, oh, I'm looking for a jacket, I didn't even tell him I was traveling. I just said, oh, I'm looking for like a winter jacket. And he just took me and gave me any jacket and I was like, cool. When my dad saw the jacket, he was just laughing. Like when you experience the cold, you understand. And guys, I came February last year. I came on the day that there was a storminess, so it was pretty cold. That jacket didn't do shit. It was so cold. Like I had started experiencing the cold from the airplane, wherever that transition is in between Africa and Europe or wherever. You just experience that change in temperature in the airplane. By the time we got to Turkey, because I used connecting flights, so we first went to Turkey and then we came over to UK. Turkey was cold already, but it was even colder when we got to the UK. Like I was literally shaking throughout. I never expected it to be this cold. So guys, that cold, very important. So actually, if you are coming over from a country like mine that is hot, I would say get a good jacket, but don't spend so much money on jackets because you might actually not get like an original winter jacket in your home country because that's not what you are used to, or that's not probably something they sell over there. But as soon as you can, get an original jacket. If possible, get winter boots, get good gloves, because the cold targets your hands and your legs. It's as if it's after them. And if you're a lady, you can get all those tights, all those fleece tights, all those tights that have fur in them. It keeps you very warm, very good for the weather. And you can get, hats and things like that. So guys, that cold shocks me all the time. Like every time I go outside, I'm like, God, this cold. When is winter going to be over? I can't wait for summer right now. So that's that about the cold. Another thing I never really expected was that I would have to learn how to enter the bus. So the bus system here is quite different from my home country. And when I first came here, I couldn't enter the bus alone. Like I had to follow people that entered the bus before. And I had to ask them to teach me how to enter the bus, and things like that. Like even finding the bus, looking at the bus stops and stuff like that are things that I had to learn afresh. And one thing I would say is one app I would say would be your best friend when you first enter a new country or the UK is Google Maps. Google Maps is so helpful. Like when I first came, even till now, I'm just like always on my phone. I'm looking, like trying to find bus stops and trying to, even when I'm on the bus, my eyes is on like the phone to make sure that they don't pass my bus stops because back in my home country, you can just literally tell the driver that I'm going to place. I don't know the place before, and can you please tell me when I get to my bus stop? And the driver will say, oh yeah, I've gotten to this bus stop, this is your bus stop, get down. But here, like, nothing like that. You have to press the bells and stuff like that when you get to your bus stop. So I had to learn how to enter the buses. I had to learn how to recognize the bus stops. I had to use Google Map as my best friend, and it's even still like my best friend till now. Another app I recommend would be City Mapper, because with City Mapper, you know, it shows you sometimes Google Maps shows you like the longest routes to take. But I feel like with City Mapper sometimes it shows you the shortest routes and just things like that. But it's basically also just like Google Maps. Yeah. And I've had to also learn that when I first came, and sometimes even till now, I'll just, tell the bus driver that, oh, I'm going to so place, so that he can just give me the ticket immediately. But I've learned that there are things called day rider tickets. So when you buy a day rider ticket, it lasts you for 24 hours, especially if you are like running a lot of errands, or you're going to be entering the bus very frequently. So instead of buying tickets over and over again, once you buy that 24 hours ticket, it lasts you for the whole day. I've also learned that there are things called tap on and tap off, which are not as expensive as when you tell the driver, like, I'm going to this particular place, and then they print out the tickets for you. So you can tap on when you get on the bus, and then you tap off. So those are things that I've had to learn. And yeah, it's not a big deal, but it's also kind of like a big deal. I also learned how to pay for things at the supermarkets. So the UK is fairly like a DIY city, or a DIY country, or a DIY place. So it's most likely you have to do things by yourself. So when you get to the supermarket, though you can go to the cashier and meet the cashier, and then they do all the payments for you. But there are also like all these stands that have the computers where you can go by yourself and you scan the stuff and then you pay by yourself. So when I first came here, I don't know why, but I used to be really scared to go to all those stands. Finally, I gained the courage to go to those stands, and it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. You just have to like follow the instructions, the computer tells you what to do. But those are things that I had to learn when I came here. Another shock was that when you go to the supermarket, they actually ask you things like, would you like a bag? When they ask you, would you like a bag, those bags are not free. They're not expensive, maybe like 20 pence, 30 pence, or things like that. But you have to pay for, bags. So I started learning to keep the bags I got from the supermarket and not throw them away, because I recycle them all the time. Because in my home country, they don't ask you, would you like a bag? It's just, automatic that when you buy stuff, they give you bags, or they give you nylon bags to, carry whatever you bought. But here, like, you have to pay for those bags. So those are things I had to learn. Now I don't throw any bag anyhow, like especially those very good thick ones. I always keep them and take them around with me when I'm going shopping. Another thing, like when you get into a new country, you realize that food is actually a big deal. So when I first got here, because when I got here, I had an exam to write. So my hospital or my employer started the training for that exam immediately. So I didn't really get the chance to like go out and see places. So, and I didn't have like much food. I wouldn't say I didn't have food stuff, but I didn't bring like a lot. I didn't have kitchen appliances to start cooking with. So I was like, oh, I'm going to order food. That's how I went on downloaded one of these food delivery websites or apps, and then I was like, oh, what should I order? And then saw rice and chicken. Instead of me to just stick with chips and chicken, I ordered the rice and chicken. I don't know what I was thinking, that rice and chicken, just because they said rice and chicken, it would be like my own Nigerian idea of rice and chicken. Anyway, rice and chicken came, and I couldn't eat the rice. The rice was like different from what I knew to be rice. The only thing I could do was to pick out the chicken pieces inside the rice, and then I drank water on top. So, food is different, and then it takes a while before you finally see like your shops that sell your own local food ingredients or your own local food delicacies. So if you're African, I would say you should look for like African shops, or you should look for like all those Middle East shops or Asian shops. Most of them sell like African delicacies or African local ingredients that you can use to manage and cook at home. Well, I also noticed that of late, the bigger Sainsbury stores, or even sometimes the Sainsbury locals, Sainsbury and Tesco have started, like selling African local ingredients. So I was at a Sainsbury store the other day and I saw dried stockfish, there is indomie, there is palm oil, there's vegetable oil, things that you don't expect in a normal store. So, but it takes a while before you start getting to know all these places and things like that. Yeah, and if you want to order anything when you first come, I would advise that you stick with chicken and chips or fish and chips. Those are very safe choices. Except maybe you are ordering from like an African shop, or maybe you are Asian and you're ordering from an Asian shop and things like that. Yeah. Another thing I had to learn also was like currency. So back in my home country, we use naira, and though we have coins, but we hardly use the coins. Most likely, if we are spending in cash, we are using like paper notes. So when I came over to the UK, apparently here they spend both the paper notes and also the coins. So there is the pounds and then there is the pennies. I hope I'm right. So 1 pence, 2 pence, 2 pennies, 50, 20, there's 10 and things like that. I had to, so when you go to the supermarket, it can be like, oh, this is £3.50. So now you're giving them £3 and you have to give them 50, or maybe if you give them £4, they're going to give you back change and it's going to be coins. So I had to learn, okay, these are the currencies, and this is this and this is that. Little things, but it's like you're settling down in a new place and you have to learn like new things. So another thing to note is that the coins are very heavy. Like after a while, when you start gathering them, they're actually very heavy. They make your purse very heavy. So it's better to just spend card, to use your card to tap off and just tap, than to spend cash. Because when you spend cash, you can never actually always have the exact amount. You have to collect change, and change most times is like in coins and very heavy. So after a while, after I got my bank account details settled and I got a card and everything like that, I strictly now use card to pay for almost anything I'm paying for. Except maybe you go to all those stores that they tell you like, oh, we don't accept card, just cash, and then you have to pay in cash. So, well, another thing is, which I knew already, but you never really realize, is that when you move, especially if you are moving alone to a new country, is that it can get very lonely sometimes, and the way this country is built is that you go to work, you do your stuff, and you go back. If you're not careful, you might not really make friends. Where I come from, it's more like a very social, it's socially built, so people will always poke nose in your business, people will always ask after you, people will not really mind their business where I come from. It's a good thing, kind of, now that I'm away, it's a good thing. But over here, people really do mind their business, like work is strictly work. Like I've had people tell me like they would see their colleagues outside of work and their colleagues will not even say hi because they're outside of work. So if you're not intentional, you will realize that you don't have any friends. You just go to work, you come back. So a good place I would advise, finding a community. So maybe if you are Nigerian or if you are Ghanaian, ask around. Are there Nigerian community of like in the hospital where I work in, I realized that there was like a community of Nigerian nurses, and then I joined, and it's been pretty helpful. We have like a group chat, so if you like need anything, you can always ask on the group chat, please, I need this, I don't know where to find it, and somebody is going to respond. That would be very helpful. It's better than feeling alone and maybe you need something, meanwhile there's someone somewhere who is of the same ethnic background as you that can help you. So find a community, your own community where you work, and if you can't, maybe there's also, maybe like I live in Oxford, you can find Nigerian community of people living in Oxford, or maybe Igbo community of people living in Oxford, or Yoruba community of people living in Oxford. Those things exist, but if you don't ask, you will never know. Another good place to find community is religious places. So if you are religious, it's good to go to the church, it's good to go to the mosque or wherever you worship. You would, like going to the church has really helped me. Like when I went to church, I realized there were more Nigerians there, more people. I made more friends there, and sometimes I just go to church because I'm lonely and I know that I'm going to see somebody to talk to there. So it's good to go to religious places. That's a good place to find community. And if you're a very, very, very social person, go out, go to the clubs, go, you meet people when you go out and stuff like that. Yeah, so it can get really lonely if you're moving alone. Those people that actually move with their spouses are like really lucky. But if you're single, what can you do? Yeah. Another thing is when you move to a new country, you might actually have to spend a lot of money when you first move in. So, like if you are moving in the winter season and you are not from a country that experiences winter, you might have to spend money on winter clothing and things like that. You might have to spend money on kitchen appliances, getting pots, getting these. If you are a student, you might have to spend money on school stuff. It will take a while, you settle down, but just keep in mind that something here and here is going to drag money out of you. So well, this does not really apply to me because I'm a healthcare worker and I was lucky that um it's my job that brought me into the country. But if maybe it's not your job that brought you into the country, or maybe you're a spouse, you're someone that moved in with your spouse, you might have to do a job that you don't really like pending the time that you get what you like. And if you are doing that, I just want you to know that it's not permanent, it's just temporary. You're just doing something just to fend for yourself, fend for your family, and it's going to get better with time. So those are the things that I've had to learn, or things that shocked me that I had to learn when I got to the UK. And probably you'd have to learn about those things too when you get to the UK or when you go to a new country. There are small basic things, but there are things that you might have to learn. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Don't forget to like this video and also subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.